welcome.
Thanks for having me.
Well, you have a little introduction, so here we go. Okay, I don't think I've cried as much as I have in researching a guest. As I found this beautiful song called Beyond the Rainbow Bridge by Trina Bellamide. And if you don't know it, it's the most exquisite song. Although my guest today is a successful Canadian-born actress, singer, and writer, she is also an avid animal lover and works with LA-based animal rescues like Hope for Paws and supports many, many animal causes like PETA, the Animal Hope and Wellness Foundation, and the Humane Society of the United States. Well, now Reagan can add author to her resume as she debuts her book, Griffin's Heart, a beautiful book about mourning your pet with no apologies. A part memoir and part interactive guide, helping you heal, journal, add photos and memories. And being a huge animal lover and mum to 2 pups, I was crying on page 2. So let's see how this goes, ladies and gentlemen. Please welcome the beautiful Reagan Pasternak.
Hello, everybody.
This song, do you know this song?
I've never heard this song, and now I need to download it. I definitely do.
The words. It's all about the Rainbow Bridge, being inside, and oh my gosh, I had to find a song that just went with everything that you encompass. And
I love that.
Your book, Griffin's Heart, really is so beautiful because our pets provide joy and compassion and comfort and love, and it's just when your beloved passes away, it's the grief that you found, I know, was immense. And so tell us about your beautiful baby Griffin to start with, and how this book came about.
Yeah, so Griffin was I grew up with tons of animals always, but Griffin was my first animal as an adult, and it really is different, you know. So he was my first responsibility, and from the second I saw him, I was madly in love with this guy, and he got sick at a young age, at 7.5, and it was just so completely devastating to me. And so I tried to put away the pain, as we all do, and as a lot of us do, and it just kind of wouldn't go away. It was a nagging ache and a pain, and I talk about in the book that it's called a disenfranchised grief, because society doesn't always take it seriously if you're mourning an animal. So I felt that I couldn't really talk about it with people. Sorry.
Well, that's what I was. Yeah, you hit the nail on the head there. You can't grieve openly to everyone, can you?
No, you
people
absolutely
don't get it.
No, some people do, but yeah, the ones that don't get it can really can make it even more isolating. So so after Griffin died, I literally felt that there was glass in my heart. That's how it felt. And you know, other things, you know, life, you know, I kept going obviously, but life was carrying on, and there was other stresses, and eventually I ended up with terrible insomnia, and finally I went to see a therapist because I couldn't sleep, and I just wanted sleep medicine, and she kind of saw right through me, and told me that I needed to learn how to mourn my animal. So
I love that she acknowledged that. I love that she made it okay that it is okay to grieve like it's a family member, because it is.
Oh yeah, and she was very stern about it. She said, you know, I think you need to learn how to mourn your cat. And what I learned in mourning my cat was that that mourning an animal, loving an animal, having an animal in your life that means something, it tells you so much about yourself. And so why do we bond so strongly with these animals? What is it? And taking yourself through that is like the most amazing therapy session in itself. So I had the idea in my head. I just needed to start writing this it all down, and I wanted to include all the exercises that I had done, a lot of cognitive behavioral exercises and meditations, and then some more quirky interesting ways to get out of your head and ways to start reprogramming the sad memories and remembering more of the good memories. Because humans, we do that, right? We'll cling to the sad parts or the hard parts of life. And there's so much beautiful, beautiful memories that happened before that, you know, before we get to those sadder parts.
I love that throughout the book, because you based it on, there's music therapy, there's art therapy. You talk about guilt of not being there if your loved one passes away, and then you talk about Eckhart Tolle, and there's so many like beautiful things within this one book. And if you go through it like section by section, I can imagine that doing that. And then at the end of the book, you have this beautiful keepsake. All these wonderful things that you remember about your beautiful beloved, being. And I love that Eckhart Tolle calls them beings.
Yes. Well, yes, he called them guardians of beings. And I had to come up with I wanted to come up with a word that wasn't just pet, because especially when you lose them, you feel like that doesn't feel like a big enough word.
Honorable.
Beings, yes, exactly. So, I mean, and I wanted to write it as if I was sitting there with the person who was in grief, and we were sharing stories. And so I tell them something, they tell me something. There's places, as you know, for photos and memories. And so at the end, you kind of feel like you've celebrated your animal, you've commemorated them in a tangible way. And that was my goal.
Yeah, I love it, because time does go by, and I don't ever want to forget. But you mentioned like what did it feel like when you touched them, and what did they smell like? What was their breath like? What were they like when you bathed them and groomed them? What were their quirky little habits? And it's interesting, since I finished the book, I was like really noticing I had 2 puppies, their quirky little habits. And I was like,
where are they? I want to see them.
Okay, here you go. Here's number 1.
Okay, good.
Okay, so this is Mackenzie McDaddy.
I love
it. He's 14, Reagan.
So oh my God, baby.
He's 14.
And he lived.
He has lived. He can do whatever he wants. He can have as many treats as he wants. He is the smoking jacket, cigar.
I love it.
Don't bother me. I'm having a whiskey kind of dude right now.
I love it. That's amazing.
So that's number 1, but 14, but I still call him a puppy.
Oh, I know.
And then
that's
the other one.
They're babies forever.
He is. Here he is. Now he'll come up in a minute. But he's 7. You gonna come up? And he's like, 1 second. He's under my desk.
No, I love it.
You will have to meet my baby. Okay, here we go. This is Bo Diddley.
Oh, buddy. He's such a perfect complement to the other one.
And he is just a lover.
Oh,
he's
look, you can
very
see.
sensitive. And I always worry, and I don't know what your thoughts are on this. And this comes up in your book as well, guilt of not being there when your loved one passes away. And I know you weren't there when Griffin passed.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to talk about that, but I always worry, because he's so sensitive.
Oh,
if
so cute.
McDaddy goes first, like, should he, and if I'm there, should he be there as well? Because he's going to lose his marbles, and it's the guilt thing. And when I love that you tell a beautiful story in your book about your husband being there with Griffin when he passed away, and he put you on the phone to him. Tell us that story. It just makes my heart.
Yeah, well, so with the guilt part, it felt like the more people I would talk to about animal loss, the more that kept coming up. It's a common thing, whether it's what I went through with not even being there at the end. And I felt like I made a million mistakes before he passed away. I felt like I didn't catch the sickness soon enough. I worried that I'd given him the wrong food. You go through all these thoughts.
Yeah.
But so that's definitely part in the book. That is definitely there's a lot to do, how you deal with that kind of grief. So for me, I remember I was because I'm an actress, I was in a movie that was at the TIFF, the Toronto International Film Festival. So I was there, and my husband was in Los Angeles, and he called me to say it was just it was just so bad. It had been so bad that, oh my God, see, all these years later, and I still, like, it's still there, you know?
It's in your throat.
It's crazy. But yeah, so he'd called me, and I just knew, I was like, he can't wait for me to come back. Like, I can't make him wait for me. He's in, you know, discomfort, and my sweet husband, took him and had the phone, and he had him wrapped up in this blanket that he loved, and his one little crunchy green frog. It's on the front of the book. That there's the photo of the painting on the front of the book has that green frog in there.
I love it.
Yeah, and so he put the phone to the ear. Oh, I can't believe you're making me tell this. I'm gonna bawl.
I'm sorry. I'm going with you already.
Oh,
sorry.
God, it was and I remember I was sitting outside on the pavement outside of a meeting that I had to go to, a work meeting, and he had the phone to his ear, and I was just telling him I was sorry, and oh, Charlie, what are you doing to me?
I'm so sorry. It's just so beautifully written in the book, and I mean,
yeah.
Read the book, everybody, because she just describes it. It's probably too heartbreaking to talk about it, but
yeah, it's hard.
But but the feelings of guilt that you must have had, but you talk about it, and I'll bring it around to why I want to talk about it, is because you talk about this beautiful Hawaiian saying that helps healing, practice of forgiveness. Now, how do I pronounce this?
Ho'opo'ono. I could be butchering it all these years as well, but that's what I believe it is. Ho'opo'ono. Ho'opo'ono. Somebody from Hawaii could say it much more beautifully than I'm saying it, of course, but it is lovely. It's just a little prayer mantra that you say, and it doesn't have to be in this order, but it's basically, I'm sorry, please forgive me, I love you, thank you. Oh, it even makes me want to cry. And it's just like a clearing of energy
everything about Hawaii is so beautiful, and it comes from the earth, and it's real, and so anything that is Hawaiian to me just makes total sense, is to say it, and you'll be forgiven, and the guilt will pass.
Yes, exactly, because your animal doesn't want you to feel guilty. They don't want you to feel guilty. Yeah. And it's amazing, human nature, we cling on to any mistakes we've made instead of commending ourselves for all the good that we did. And so that's what I do. I try to keep bringing you back as the reader to all the good you did. If you're reading the book, it's because you loved that animal, and you have to take solace in that, and you have to know that the bad is this much of the whole life. Yes. So it's so and relieve yourself of that guilt. It's too much.
Yeah.
It's too much.
And our animals, especially dogs, they don't remember. I mean, when you think all the bad things that happen to dogs that I can't even, makes me so angry, and that dog will still forgive that person because they are unconditional.
They are pure of heart. They really are. Yeah. They have something that we just can't even understand, really. Yeah. So yeah, it's amazing. Actually, I just saw this meme or something and it was basically explaining that dogs, when you play with them, will sneeze to make sure that that they're even if they get all rough with you, that they're just playing. They'll sneeze. I'm like, really? These are little angels. Come on. That is the cutest thing I've ever heard in my life. And
I've never heard that.
Yes. And it's funny because one of our dogs does that all the time. He'll sneeze. And I was like, am I allergic to me or something when I play with him? But so.
It's not a bad bone in their body.
There's not.
They're angels.
It's only wonderful.
And you talk about that as well in the book, about them being angels on earth. Because they
are. That's what I believe. I really do believe. I mean, you can take it lightly. I mean, my animals are my angels for sure. During all this COVID time and all the isolation, highs and lows of life in general, they bring me so much joy. They bring my son, who's 8, so much joy. I mean, I'm so grateful to them. They just bring us so much joy, But
grateful is the right word as well. I can't tell you how many times during this pandemic, if I didn't have them, That's all I have here. If I didn't have them, I don't know that I would have gotten through it like I did. And every day I just thanked them for